Goals, and why, as a business coach and a consultant, you need goals. That's the conversation today on the podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome. Glad that you are here on the podcast. This is going to be one of those that just kind of straight up the gut, right down the middle, the exact things we need to do to build a solid, long-lasting, profitable business coaching practice as a strategist, a coach, consultant, and so on. And so regardless if you are already on our coaching team, if you are, glad that you're listening and leaning in and learning. If you are on the outside looking and you're like, hey, I'm trying to see if this next season, in my life, or this current season rather, this next chapter I've got going on, if one, business coaching, two, if this style that we use, a complete and total done-for-you system that we call the focused method, if that's the right fit. By the way, just real quick, if you are on the outside looking in, here is the best way to learn more. Go to businesscoachmastery.com and just click on a link there. You'll see it to book a really quick conversation with us. We're going to give you a full-blown overview of exactly how everything works, what it looks like, so that you can decide, one, if it's worth learning more about, two, it's the right fit for your season. You make that decision, and we'll go from there. But goals. Regardless of your journey, maybe you just started, maybe you've got 2 or 3 clients, maybe you've been coaching for a while, maybe you've drifted a little bit. That happens. I know that I've experienced that personally over the years before. And but what do you do about it, right? And so this is, again, going to be you may think it's basic. You might even think it's common logic, but the reality is it's not common practice. Why? Because if it was common practice, first of all, if goals by themselves were common practice, more people would achieve what it is that they want to achieve, or at least they would fight through the challenges of getting to what it is that they're looking to achieve. So I'm going to keep it straight up to the gut. What I mean by that is just very practical, not ethereal. And here's why. Let me take a couple of steps backwards just for a moment. As a Christ follower, right, from a biblical perspective, when we look at saying, all right, God, I want to run my practice, I want to grow my business with a biblical foundation. When we do that, and we'll just take Proverbs by itself. There's plenty of other scripture verses, but just look at Proverbs. It is littered with the effort and the energy all around the topic of wisdom. So if we look at that alone, and we're looking at building a business coaching practice, I would be hard-pressed to believe that if we don't use wisdom and good judgment, sound judgment, to build it, we likely are already building it on sand, not on rock. In other words, not on a firm foundation. So what does that mean? Well, if we're jumping out there and just there's really no strategy, there's no there's no numbers and KPIs, key performance indicators behind my activity, my actions. What happens is one week it looks like X, another week it looks like Y, and after a period of months, we're just frustrated. Why? No consistency, no real strong plan, certainly one that's not backed by legit numbers, okay? So, goals. What's the first thing we have to have? Well, you must have a financial goal. In other words, when it comes to earnings, what is it that you truly want to accomplish? What is it that you truly want to earn? And look, there is no perfect number here, because the beautiful part about coaching and consultative work is you get to do what you want to do. That's one of the things that we love. Clearly, we're biased, right, about our own done-for-you turnkey system. It is franchise level, without it being a franchise. That means you get to go do it ever how you want to do it, when you want, how you want, charge what you want, keep 100% of what you earn, and so on. It is your deal to do it, unlike a legit franchise where you're going to do it their way, their logo, their colors, their style, royalties, massive upfront costs. It just is what it is. So At the end of the day, though, is that I'm whether I might be, on a business still. You might be working full time. It's very normal and natural. It happens all the time. I actually love both of those, because it gives you runway. Sometimes, though, the chapters of life have closed the door, and we're kind of having to sink or swim, and all of them work, and that's going to somewhat drive your financial goal. But you need a goal. I'm going to use, for today's purpose, 150 grand a year. And we'll just say that, if we look at the average coach charges around, for one-on-one coaching, if you don't know this, the average coach charges around $2,000 per month for one-on-one coaching. Well, if 150 grand was your number, we need between 6 and 7, no pun intended there, 6 and 7 clients. Okay? Now, I want you to sit back and just think about that. What we do now, this is where it gets fun to me, is we now stop thinking about the 150 grand, because which one is easier for your mind to wrap around, and which one is less, just seems big? Well, obviously it's 6. And so as we put on the whiteboard, if you will, in your office, I need 6 or 7 clients to achieve my goal. That's it, right? And if I had no clients, then right now, all I'm focusing on myopically is 1. But we take that 6 and 7, and then we're going to say, well, when do you want to achieve this? And this, again, goals are not, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know that there's a lot of, controversy, not like heavy controversy, but just like opinions is the better term. But to me, goals are designed to just move you in the right direction of what you want to achieve, to give you the daily activities that you need, right? Because if all we did was always just hit our goal, we probably don't have the right goals to start with. They're much too low. By the way, most people, they want to set really soft, achievable goals, and that's not my style. My encouragement is to set loftier goals. Get out of your headspace that your only goal is to just try to hit the goal. We're trying to get pushed out of our typical norm to find ways to achieve. And the only way that you can find ways to achieve things is to make things to feel like they're somewhat unreachable, because that's when you start to search and find. The brain is wired in such a way. God created the brain to do this function, that you'll start finding different ways that you won't think of if that goal is too low. That's a different conversation to have by itself. We can talk about sometime, but you need a goal. The second part of that is, I know we just sat there and said we need 6 or 7 clients, but you might need to understand, well, how do I actually want to coach? You might hear that and go, what do you mean? Well, there's the obvious one-on-one coaching. But today we get to bring efficiency into this and say, well, but maybe that's not the only way that I want to coach. Maybe you want to offer group coaching. And if you're not in our system or a part of our team, if you don't know, we offer group coaching software. Okay? That gives you the ability, you can run as many people in there as you want. You'll use the same exact content and the curriculum that we use, or you can also add your own stuff in there as well. You can coach once per week. You could coach once, every other week, whatever. Charge what you want. So if you're one-on-one coaching, it was, $2,000. Maybe your group coaching is only $997. Now, as a strategy, as a part of what you offer, you have now a downsell. So if somebody were to say, hey, I love the idea, I just don't, weekly, $2,000, probably not the right fit timing wise right now. Now you can move down and say, well, I have this other option. What about this? Second to that is, then we also have what we call in our system done for you group coaching, meaning our team, we coach your clients for you on your behalf, weekly live, in a full white labeled process, coaching right through the business strategies that creates significant profitability. The same strategies have been around forever and a day, but most businesses don't understand them. So as you're getting, by the way, as you're getting started in the very beginning, we highly recommend our coaching team to leverage the done for you, because you don't have to wait. You don't even have to have all your systems and tools turned on, and literally just put people in there, because we're going to take them through and take care of it for you. All right. And you could charge something like $495 a month, because you're not the one doing the work. Now, you still want to build a relationship and so on. And the last thing is something that we call micro flash coaching. It's a process and a system set up, designed for you to offer 15-minute specific coaching. They kind of do everything on their own. They meet with you, we'll call it whenever they need to, just for 15-minute, segments. And you can charge whatever you want to. There, we kind of say, for a 3-month run, like a $997 kind of deal. Here's the point. Oftentimes we don't fully know, but we have to start to frame out what it is it's going to look like. So if I was starting brand new, I'm going to start number one. I'm definitely going to charge $495 to use done for you, put people in there. And let's say that I'm going to offer, I'm going to have at least 5 of those relationships. Okay. Let's say that I'm not going to offer any group coaching right now until I really get my feet wet. All I'm going to do is the done for you group coaching, and I'm going to do one-on-one coaching. All right. So if my number now is that I'm going to have 5 people at $500 a month, and then I'm also going to have one-on-one coaching, I now see what I'm going to do. Now the question becomes, when do I want to hit said proverbial number that's $150,000 a year? Which, again, this is where everybody's desires are totally different, right? So that's a little over $12,000, $12,500 per month. It's like, when do and I know we all want that now, right? But that's not probably realistic. So let's just say that for, again, our conversations today, that we want to be able to hit 12.5 in less than 6 months. And if I was just getting started, I'm going to use the first 60 days to get, all my systems turned on, tools, understand this stuff, start having conversations and whatnot. So really, the work needs to be done in a 4-month window. So what do I do? Well, I take the 12.5 and divide it by 4. You see where this is going? Here's the bigger point. We work it down all the way till we understand the activity that's going to be needed to happen every single week to hit my 12.5 number by the end of the 4th month. Now, will it work out just like that? It will not. It won't. It might work out better than that. But what's going to happen as you get 3 or 4 weeks into this, you begin to see what is working and what is not working. And if you're on a coaching team, here's the good news. You get to get with your advisor, get in one of our group calls, and talk about the challenges. What's standing in the way? What's not working? Don't stand on the sidelines. Don't wonder about it for days and weeks on end. Look, loneliness is an epidemic, and we have an entire community to solve that problem. Okay? It will be absolutely foolish to believe that you're going to build a legitimate business and then not come and, not trip here and there and not make some mistakes or just things not work out like you planned. That would be absolutely foolish. Nothing in life, your marriage isn't that way, relationship with your kids are not that way, jobs you've had in the past are not that way. Nothing is like that. But the only way to get to the other side of them is to work through them as swiftly and efficiently as humanly possible. Okay? And then we have those numbers, and then we begin to determine, well, what are the ways in which I'm going to now go and build relationships? And all of them work. I get the question all the time, what's the best way? There are no best ways. Now, you could argue that there are based upon your background, your gift mix, your skill sets. Let's say that, we've got, coaches sometimes that come from the CPA world or they're digital marketers, and they already have, really kind of super warm conversations with business owners. Well, clearly that's low-hanging fruit. That's leverage. We want to start there, but like that person coming in versus somebody who's starting, a little bit colder over here, that's where things begin to shift. So it doesn't matter if it's, doing workshops, creating joint ventures with others, networking route, your sphere of influence, all of it works. But here's what I can tell you is that, one, you cannot do them all. If you do, you'll dabble. And if you dabble, you'll get dabble-like results. So you can't dabble. My perspective, you choose no more than 2 and you double down and you get good at them. But I can tell you one holistically that everybody should be doing, period, every day. And I call it the curiosity trail. And I think we had, I should have looked, but I think we have an episode about that already. But if so, it's just a few back from this one. I just can't remember the name of it. That's shame on me. But it's all about using your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Alignable. In other words, your social media footprint. It doesn't matter who's connected to you because a couple of things happen. The curiosity part is you're just sharing every day what you're doing and why. Then you can go find that I'll look while I'm kind of doing this because now my brain is hurting because I'm like, I know I did that. I think I did. But the point is that you're going to make posts that draws curiosity for two people. One, you'll be shocked at who's in your network that you forgot about that owns a business or that started one or whatever, or someone who has connected one. They may work for one. They may have a friend or a relative who is looking to grow, or they're, things aren't working out the way that they want them to. And you're just like, hey, what BJ's talking about here, or, whoever, is exactly something that I need to, I need to let my friend know, family member know, whatever. Right. And so think about it like this. If you were building curiosity and today you're going to sit down with, a business and run them through our assessment, if you're on our coaching team, and you're able to say, and I am currently in the process of planning for a really cool conversation with a HVAC company. And I got to thinking, and boom, boom, boom. You just kind of tell a story. What's happening is you're showing activity, but as much as important as that, people start to see you kind of playing out what you're doing, but you're also getting out of your comfort zone and you're getting reps in constantly talking about what you're doing. And it also improves you and what you do and why you do it. I can't talk of two different things at the same time. I'm trying to see if I can't find the show that I'm talking about because it is come on. Well, I can't read and I don't have my glasses on, so sorry about that. But here's the point: is that you're drawing curiosity. So you get activity and curiosity on your social channels, LinkedIn, and all that. But then you do have to choose: what levers am I going to pull to have conversations? Regardless of, we're not going to get into the weeds of that today in this session. At this point, we will in the next couple. And if I haven't done the curiosity one, I'll do that next. I could have swore I did it. But anyways, but the bigger point is that maybe it's, I'm a huge fan of your sphere of influence. Like, you look at the people that are in your phone. I think I Googled the other day, like the average person has somewhere around 1,000 or more contacts on their phone. And you hear that and you go, well, but most of those are not business owners. But you'd be shocked at how many of them are, or they know someone. And if you're not doing anything to develop conversations with those people, you're just stepping over people who already know you, who already like you, trust you. I don't care if it's been 5 years since you talked to them, they already know you. And it just, again, go back to Proverbs, is like wisdom. Why would you step over warm relationships to start everything cold? You still may get all of your clients through cold contacts, but I can promise you, without question, you have client 1, 2, and 3 inside your current sphere of influence. You just need to get to know how to access them. And I'll tell you, if you are on our coaching team, this I can tell you. We have a call that I did on April 23rd. Go back in the recordings in our software to the Thursday calls. April 23rd, that is the Curiosity Trail. Now, if you're not on our coaching team, join us. You can get to the call. I'm kidding, but you get to the point. Like, if you are on our coaching team, April 23rd, that's the call. We just did it recently, a fresh version of it. And you need to do that consistently every single day, period. But here's the bigger point for today. You cannot drift and believe it's just going to work out. Because after working with hundreds and hundreds of coaches over the years, that lack of planning is the bedrock for failure, frustration, and quitting. And I see it all the time. And here's the real transparent truth. Most people who quit, they'll blame everything else, except for the real reality is that they simply refuse, for whatever reason, to build a specific goal to outline their daily activity and their strategy. And if you're just starting, this is great news for you. The faster you do that, it doesn't mean every day and every week works. That's the whole point. You work through it. And when you work through it, you stand a chance to get to your goal. I'll leave you with this. We have a coach in our community who's also building he wants to be a coach of the coaches. He has that desire. And we have that process inside our partnership program to do that. And those that are interested in that, we highly encourage it. Here's the cool thing. He's following through what he's being taught. He is a former football coach. He didn't work in Fortune 500. He didn't own a business necessarily. He didn't have the typical, what you're going to, utilize is like the typical ABC 1, 2, 3. He was on the field for 20 plus years, decided he didn't want to burn, 80 hours a week anymore. And he is building a coaching team. And just this month alone, he has brought on 5 coaches that are going to coach with him as he builds his coaching firm. And you look at that, you're like, why? How? Specific strategy, specific goal, and every day he wakes up and executes it. This is not brand new, crazy information. But still to this day, the people who cry and whine about it, and I don't mean to be rude, but people who cry and whine about, not getting it is because they're not active. And they're not active because they don't have a goal. When you have a goal, your activity level will go up by nature, simply because now you understand what you're actually moving towards. And there you go. All right. I hope this has added value to you today. Until next time, take care.